I'm Lisa, and I'm the mom half of this duo.
And I'm Shada. I'm Lisa's daughter. And welcome to Two Peas in a Plot, our little corner of the internet where we talk all things books.
We read across genres and love everything from underrated gems to longtime favorites.
And just a quick heads up while we try to avoid spoilers, we do talk about what we liked or didn't. So there might be a few light spoilers along the way just to give you some context.
So if you love stories and want to grow your TBR, hit that subscribe button and join the plot. Hello, all, and welcome back. Well, before we start today, I wanted to ask Shada if you could read anywhere in the world today, where would it be and what snack would you bring?
Oh,
And I guess we could ask what book, but I was just focusing on the place and the snack.
that's fine with me because I feel so guilty. My TBR list is so long. Um, I'm just happy to focus on the place. I would love, it's so hot. It's like
Mm.
while we're recording this, it's barely 9 o'clock in the morning and it is already so hot taking Ellie out to do her business. I had to put on sunglasses and a hat and I was still sweltering. So, somewhere cool. I'm thinking, I feel like I probably said this before, but somewhere in the English countryside, in a country cottage, very breezy, maybe like on the moors, like up in the Highlands or something. And snack? Ooh, I'd want a series of snacks throughout the day. Like um lots of little canapes, finger foods and things.
Mm.
Lots of little savory treats. What's I know that salmon is called lox sometimes when you get it on a
Oh,
bagel. Like
uh-huh.
salmon and cream cheese and capers and some dill, like fresh dill sprinkled over that. That's what I'd eat.
Yum. I was gonna say I want to go to Maine, but I think I'm gonna follow you because the British countryside or Ireland or Scotland or somewhere moody with some mist and some rain and a cozy cottage.
Yeah.
I just love it. And I want little, I think I want them. I don't know that I've had them. We've gone one time years ago in Boston to I think a tea house, but like little sandwiches, it was like a three-layered plate, and we all got our pot
Yeah,
of tea.
was it an Edelweiss? Edelweiss?
I don't know. I don't
I'm
remember
gonna try to
anymore.
look it up and see what that was. Or if it was just called Edelweiss, because that's a song.
Yeah, it's
Um,
Sound of Music, I think.
yeah.
But those little, I don't know if you call them canapes. I don't know. They're like but maybe they had crackers with stuff on them and little sandwiches, but I want that. I do always fall to chips or popcorn, but I don't know. Since we're in England or countryside and it's our dream, I want that little three-layered dish of
Yeah.
yummies and a hot pot of tea. I'm a coffee drinker, but I do love a good cup of tea too. But I like hot tea more in the winter.
Yeah, I do too.
So that's where we're going. So come on with us. But today's book is a really cute book, The Lion of Lark-Hayes Manor. It was published in 2023. It is a middle grade. I can't for the life of me figure out why these books are attracting me, but they are, and I'm enjoying every single one of them. This is the first book from Aubrey Hartman. I read her second book first, which was The Undead Fox of Deadwood Forest. And that book attracted me. If a cover could make me buy a book, that was the one because I didn't see it in person. I saw it on the online and just the title itself too, The Undead Fox of Deadwood Forest. I had to get it and I wasn't disappointed at all. It was lovely. It was about death, but it was still good. But in our previous podcast we talked about it. But this one Instead of having animals as the main characters, it was with people. And it's a family of four that move around quite often due to the parents' occupation, which is fixing up old buildings. And these seem to be historical homes that they renovate. The dad is an architect, and the mom is a historic preservation officer. Really interesting family. Poppy is the main character and is going into the sixth grade. Loves to read and dresses up as a certain character of the book she's reading. And she loves Narnia. But this new school seems different and she has a hard time blending in. And her older brother, Luca, does well in his new school and is accepted right away. So he's really busy with stool. The school council, that's me and my English speaking. I think this book is described as part magical realism but in the book Poppy wants to show proof that magic is real and she will prove it by wishing for a lion from the nymph. The nymph she rescues in her house because I think there's like an indoor pool that's been somehow damaged and it's moldy and the nymph is hurt and somehow Poppy rescues her. And the nymph is kind of grumpy and mean, but the nymph allows Poppy to wish for something. But Poppy wants to go to Narnia. But for some reason, which I forget in the book, that is out of the question. So she wishes for a lion. And I couldn't understand the lion, but Shady, you could probably tell me, isn't there a lion in Narnia?
Oh yeah. The I think C.S. Lewis said he never intended for the Chronicles of Narnia to be an allegory for Christianity, but it really, really, for someone who wasn't trying to create a Christian allegory, Aslan is Jesus and God. Like, yeah. So he's like this protector. He always comes and like guides the main characters or sometimes even saves them. He's in the first book, in the light, well, I don't know if it's chronologically the first book. No, it's not. In The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, he sacrifices himself for one of the kids, but then he comes back to life, which sounds very, very similar to some other Christian stories we all know. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense that she, well, can't have Narnia, so just give me Aslan, the lion.
Right. Well, she gets this lion. He starts out as, I want to say, a puppy,
A
but
cub,
yeah, cub,
a puppy.
puppy. It just
You can
sounds
tell
so
we have
cute.
dogs.
Like a puppy. Yeah, we have dogs. We've had dogs forever. German shepherds only. So every time it's really interesting how she incorporates the books with the lion, but and unfortunately I can't remember exactly how it works, but somehow Poppy convinces the nymph that these books are magical. So every time the lion grows, the nymph takes a book. But when she takes a book, everyone forgets about the story except Poppy. So she hides the Narnia book. She hides another book that her dad and her would read. I can't remember the name of it, and I'm not sure if it's a real book. But it's interesting to me how it evolves, and I don't want to go past this point of so every time the nymph takes a book, they lose that memory. And one of the main books is a recipe book that it's Poppy, I think it's Poppy's grandmother or her, yeah, it's Poppy's grandmother. So it's her mother's recipe books. And when that book gets taken, the mom can't figure out how to make anything anymore because she
Oh, wow.
constantly used that recipe book. So that shows you how it goes. And the book is a lot about Poppy finding her voice and basically standing up for herself. She does stumble and makes wrong choices, but then she turns around and corrects it, I guess is what I want to say. But one of the great lines, and here's another question for you, Shada. I thought this really hit me. I'm not one to annotate a book, but this line I wanted to annotate, if that's the correct terminology, or highlight it. she's talking about her brother. Her brother is very independent, and they both are, but he wants to be himself. He wants to grow his hair long and do other things to make he basically they're growing up and being themselves. So the line in there it says stories helped shape her brother, and now that the books were gone that shaped him, that wasn't the line though. He wasn't the same. So the actual line is stories helped shape her brother, and now that the books were gone, he wasn't the same. So what I'm asking you is, do you feel any books shaped you growing up?
Yes. Yes. I'm trying to think if there are
And
so
which
many.
ones? That's a hard part.
I think, well, the biggest one, the one that I keep coming back to because I feel like the DNA, like as a writer, I feel like everything I write, I can trace the DNA back to this book. It's Sabriel by Garth Nix. I just love that book. It's a dark fantasy. It has, it's a very like dark high fantasy, but it essentially has zombies in it because it's like necromancers and undead spirits that inhabit these rotting bodies. It's so it's like classic fantasy, but with some horror elements, and that's what I love to write. And I think those kinds of stories and those kinds of just I've always been drawn to those types of things. Like I could never find anything to watch on TV like
Mm.
Nickelodeon and Disney Channel, and not that we had cable, but when
Yeah.
we did, I was still like, I don't want this. I don't want, teenagers or little kids in schools. I want swords and sorcery and like not the campy Conan stuff. I know Conan's a classic, but not like the campy stuff. And that just became my like my comfort zone. This fantasy that takes itself very seriously. Like still very, has moments of humor, but like a fully realized world that you can like live and breathe in. And I don't know, like that's certainly shaped me as a writer. I don't know how much it shaped me as a person, but that feeling so intertwined with like my writing identity is a strong facet of my personal identity. I don't know how to separate those things. And then of course there are things like Harry Potter, which I just love. But again, it's that like this very realized cozy space. Like it feels real, it feels lived in. I don't The movies are okay, but like the
Yeah.
real texture and the part that I love is in the books, and I just don't get that from the movies at all. Like I
Hmm.
don't even know if you remember Hermione. She found out that the house elves worked in the Hogwarts kitchens, and she was so horrified because she thought it was slave labor. So then she starts I can't remember what she actually called it, but the like I can never think of this word, not monogram. The acronym is SPEW, and she's trying to get everyone to join SPEW, and no one wants to join SPEW. And that wasn't in the movies at all. And I just loved
Oh.
so she would like knit hats aggressively and leave them around the common room so house elves would accidentally free themselves, and then they stopped wanting to clean the Hogwarts common or the Gryffindor common room because they didn't want to accidentally free themselves. Yeah. I So that was a really long-winded answer, but what about you?
Well, I kind of feel the same thing. I read Sabriel. You've opened my eyes to different kind of books, and I can't say that anything affected me, but it affected me in what I like to read, or like I really love a good mystery. I think not until I got older, like for me, it was Murder, She Wrote and Columbo. And then we had something on Sundays back in my day. I think I was older. I don't think I was a child, but it was five, I want to say five different movies that would come on Sunday. It was like a rotating shows, Macmillan and Wife, and I don't know what all. And I may be getting it wrong, but something similar to that. And that's what I enjoyed. I guess it helped me. It was my entertainment to relax and just get out of the normal things that bothered you or not necessarily worrying you, but it was just a moment to be with my family a lot of times, like the Alfred Hitchcock movies we just enjoyed together. A lot of time, TV in the evening was our only entertainment. We didn't go out when I was a child, and I think that's the way we kind of brought you up. But we didn't focus. Well, we did. I focused on TV, but you kids not so much. You had other things brought up. So I can't say that the question really resonates, but it makes you think, like the boy in the book, that he wasn't as independent anymore. He stopped being himself because of the books that he grew up with affected him. So maybe books affect us more than we think, but it's so minor or it feels so minor we can't really specify the book that or the books that
Yeah,
formed
and I
us.
think actually that like I think you just crystallized it for me there. I think like if you strip away the books or the even just the stories that I grew up with, I think one of those core like in my own self, I know this is probably going to sound funny, but I feel like you're going to be like, "Oh yeah, I see that." I feel like I've always identified with like a warrior princess mindset. And I think if you take away the books and the stories that I like, that would be stripped out. Because I think that's what it is. It's like that kind of this, well, I loved Xena Warrior Princess, but
Mhm.
that all of the stories I read, they're about not always a hero. I love like Shades of Grey where the hero, quote unquote, is kind of morally ambiguous, but there's always like this arc of goodness triumphing over darkness. So I think, yeah, I think it's that warrior princess thing, identity. Like, when I'm really if I'm struggling, I'm like, okay, let me just take a step back and look at these stories and like what would this character do? What would this
Mhm.
character do? How can I embody that? How can I bring some of that strength to my very I say boring in a good way. I don't like being exciting, but like how can I apply this to this relatively mundane situation? And that I think that energizes me and that gives me some, I don't know, just some like scope
Yeah.
that you get really tunnel visioned when you're just going through your own life without stories.
Uh,
But that I think
Yeah.
that's an awesome quote that you pulled, and that has a lot of melancholy to it. Like this book sounds like it would make me cry in weird spots. Like not in like maybe a turn of phrase or something. I would
Mhm.
just be like, "Oh, uh-oh, I'm gonna cry."
Yeah. It it yeah, it was really good. It was different, but yet the same as her second one. I really enjoyed it. I I didn't know this one didn't attract me. I saw this one. Maybe something about the lion. I think the other one was because they were all animals, that attracted me more. This one had a girl riding a lion, and neither one of them, just. But then it kind of projects this fantasy because she's sitting on top of a flying lion. But it's really cute. And even the lion himself grows to find his voice in a way. It was a really cute book.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to borrow this from you. This sounds
Yeah.
adorable.
Yep. I know you were talking about what books to find you. I think what I like when if you take the stories out, it's the investigative work is what I really, really like. And history. I'm really attracted to history, learning about different cultures or in countries. Like I'm excited about the book that I borrowed from you, Pachinko, but I'm really excited about learning about the culture, about the country. I
It's
know the
very
story is going to be
well.
sad.
Well, it's not so much sad as it is like because it's a family saga.
Hmm.
So there are moments that are sad.
Yeah.
Um, but the interesting thing about Pachinko is that there are layers of culture because it's a
Mhm.
Korean family, but a Korean family that's immigrated to Japan during the Japanese occupation of Korea. But then the because it takes place over such a long period of time, Korea becomes independent, but they're still living in Japan. So there are multiple layers of cultural identity and how, this immigrant family is fitting into a different country and a country that was a colonizer and an oppressor. And it's very interesting.
I can't wait. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
excited about that. But yeah, I think that's maybe what's I've learned through certain books, not all of them, because I tend to listen to the mysteries more, but I love learning about different cultures and the countries and how they were formed. A previous one that we recorded talked about how this one country was formed, which is a minor part in the whole book, but it still affected me, and it's it just broadened my horizon, and at my age, I can still be have my horizon broadened.
I
And
think that's good. I think that's the power of books too.
yeah, yeah, you said it in a mouthful right there. So this book was just lovely. I think it's just lovely for adults if you're up for something a little different or middle grade. I know that there's something called Middle Grade March. I'm not sure all what it's about unless you just read middle grade books in March.
Maybe it's just
But
celebrating middle grade.
it, yeah, I think so. But
I'm
but this
looking
is
it up.
more towards adults, I think, that adults read this. And I think it's worth a read. It's not so stressful. Sometimes some of those emotional reads, I can't for me, I can't handle very much. I think my book club book is going to be not emotional. It's going to be a psychological thriller, I think. It's going to
Well,
stresses me
I
out.
think that is the real magic to me of middle grade. You're you deal with the depth and complexity of these big emotions like an adult novel, but in middle grade it's packaged in such a I hesitate to say gentle, but it's a soft landing, I
Mhm.
think. Although, you've got books like Bridge to Terabithia, which
Oh yeah.
that's middle grade. But it's still I think it's it's a safer space. You can still there I'm thinking of middle grade books. I've had several that have made me cry. But it's like kind of a catharsis. Like I don't feel like sometimes you read an adult novel that has those big emotions and you're just like, ugh, why did I put myself through that? But with a middle grade novel, I feel like I've never had that. I've had that the emotion, but by the time I get to the end of the book, I feel like, no, that was really good.
Hmm.
I that was cathartic. That was something that, I feel refreshed, but also broadened. And I think a really well done middle grade book is like one of the highest art forms. I love middle grade. I
I,
think that's the
I'm
power.
I think I'm really enjoying it. I agree with you. They touch on on a subject like I could say, you know how I'm not crazy about teenage angst, even though this isn't teenagers per se, but there is some drama that she goes through at school or at her for her it feels like drama, but it's so brief and it's so well done. It doesn't stress me out, but you see how all of the characters in this situation grew, and it's just lovely. I'm having a great time. I'm going to pick up more middle grade. These were my two that, well, once I read The Undead Fox of Deadwood Forest, I picked up this book from the same author and I knew I would be okay with it. And now I'm going to branch out and see more to read. Now I get the draw. I
Yeah.
didn't until I read the first one, that Undead Fox of Deadwood Forest. I just loved it. And that was sadder because that dealt with death, but it was done so well. And just by the end of it, it had to go that way and it was okay. It's just lovely. And so is this one. This one's different, where no one dies, but they lose themselves due to these books being taken away. And they lose, the mother is affected more than the dad, and then her brother Luca. And of course, Poppy isn't, because the nymph allows her to remember the books that she's taking. And she thinks she's doing Poppy a favor by doing that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And it has a great teacher in there. He's a lovely teacher that really promotes her individualism. It's just lovely. Just lovely read.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to read this. I think you already lent me the first one that you read,
Mm-hmm.
which I guess is the second her second novel, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna have to read this one too.
Yeah.
This
And they're
sounds
totally separate standalones, but lovely, lovely. Well, I think that's all we have for y'all. And we appreciate you hanging out with us. Thanks for being here and talking books with us.
And if you love stories and want to grow your TBR, hit that subscribe button and join the plot with us, and we'll see you in the next chapter. Bye, y'all.
Bye.